brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin, because why not? Wheeler Lecter with you on your Wednesday morning. It is January 6th. The temperature is minus 12. Supposed to get up to minus 8 today.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere. I suppose that means people want to go do things outside. Stop it. Stop being so motivated. It really drives me up the wall.
I know.
No. Good morning. Mornings at the Cabin. Brought to you by Aurora Ford, driving the north, and the brand new 2021 Bronco Sport. Also check out the brand new 2021 F-150, redesigned for this year. Beautiful stuff.
I wish we had a backup team for today.
Kind of too, yeah. We were up late last night.
Yeah.
And late for us is like 10:30.
Yeah.
Because we do get up really early. We stayed up late to watch the men's gold medal game at the World Juniors, and it did not go as we thought it might go. Like, we knew it was going to be. It was their first test of the tournament, which says a lot about the tournament, really. Like, even every article this morning is like, faced with their first adversity of the tournament, Canada buckles.
Yeah.
Like, that says so much about the tournament itself that you don't meet your first real test until you get to the gold medal game.
Well, I think, but they knew this was going to be the challenge coming in, right?
No, but I mean, you should be facing a team or two that, gives you some pause before that.
Usually they do.
Yeah, there just wasn't a lot going on. Like, Russia was just nowhere.
Well, they knew that was going to be the tough thing about this year, was that they had such a quote-unquote stacked team because of the NHL season not happening
Too cocky.
yet.
What are you going to do?
That's the way it goes.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Mornings at the Cabin, Alien Ant Farm, Smooth Criminal from the album Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm, I think. Does anyone know the name of that album? Didn't think so. Wheeler Lecter with you on your Wednesday morning. A beautiful Wednesday morning. Things are melting. It's only minus 12 out there, for goodness sake. But we wanted... Hey, you are not on mic yet, sir.
You haven't been introduced or anything.
That's right. For goodness sake. This is our show until you get introduced. All right, but it's early in the morning. People are fuming over, I don't know, something. But we wanted to get Ollie Williams in the mix and do a little segment we like to call Without Knowing Precisely What's Going On with Ollie Williams. But first... Oh, here he is. He's walking down the aisle. Oh, he's looking very good this morning. Very good this morning. I don't know who he's pointing at.
Weighing in at 245 pounds.
240. I don't think so.
Look at those muscles.
Maybe 185. 195.
Okay.
195 pounds from parts unknown. United Kingdom. Ollie Williams. That's pretty good. I gotta work with my Fink impersonation. Ollie, without knowing precisely what's going on, who's doing all this traveling? Why is everybody so mad about it?
So first of all, the album is called Anthology, which I think you'll find...
Oh, that's right. It is called Anthology, which was ballsy considering it was like their first album and the only song anybody had ever heard from them.
That's a 2-for-1 without knowing precisely what's going on.
That's right.
Wow.
That's without knowing precisely what's going on. Bonus.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Ollie.
Second of all, 225 pounds.
There you go.
Okay.
That's very good.
Yeah.
You were closer than me.
Pure muscle. I
That's
knew
right.
that.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking good.
So we're answering a lot of questions this morning so far.
That's right.
Thirdly, I haven't got a clue about this last one. I kind of do have a clue. So,
of course you do.
We are aware so far that 3 senior GNWT officials traveled south over the sort of the holiday period.
Okay, so they've been fired. And
wait. Which is all very loosely defined, the other holiday period, the last couple of months, basically. And the first thing to say that's really important is there's been some confusion in the Facebook comments. I know, it's hard to believe.
What do you mean?
I know. Between who exactly we're talking about here. We're not talking about MLAs. One MLA did go south over the Christmas period. That was Katrina Knockleby, the MLA for Great Slaves.
To help settle her mother's estate.
Yes. To the best of our knowledge, I think Jackie Jacobson may also have traveled a little earlier as well, maybe in November for a few days down to Edmonton for a different reason. Other than that, there was no particular exodus of MLAs anywhere. Nobody's been on vacation to a foreign country that we're aware of. but 3 senior officials, by which we don't mean MLAs, but we do mean deputy minister level officials. In other words, the highest unelected officials of the GNWT.
So not responsible to the people whatsoever.
Did travel south, and now yesterday, so this was broke by CBC, broke the story first thing yesterday morning. Yesterday afternoon, the Premier, Caroline Cochrane, and the Health Minister, Julie Green, held a news conference in which they addressed what had happened. There was a statement from Caroline Cochrane. You can read it in full on her Twitter page. It's on our website as well, in which she basically said, yeah, she can understand why people are frustrated by this, and she promised to. So it wasn't as far as an apology for anything like this happening. It's also a little unclear to me as to who is responsible for whose annual leave. Yeah. So the deputy ministers of any department are responsible to the Premier in that the Premier decides to hire and fire them. Yeah. So they serve at her pleasure, essentially. Now, whether that means that, leave requests and I plan on going down to Newfoundland during the Christmas, whether that crosses her desk, I don't know for sure at this point. So I can't say with any certainty what the Premier has or has not seen. We did ask in the news conference, and she basically said she's not able to speak about personal leave of employees under the agreements that GNWT has with its workers.
So much for transparency. I want to know the comings and goings of all my people who haven't been elected.
We know that 3 people traveled. We know that it was the head of the COVID Secretariat, Russ Newdorf, and it was the Deputy Minister of Health, Bruce Cooper, and a 3rd senior official who has not yet been...
named.
I'm not yet definitively sure who it was.
Okay.
So we got those 3. Now, I want to make a really important point, which is that we don't know with certainty why the people traveled.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, the spectrum of what could have happened spans from... We're pretty sure in each of the 2 cases we know the most about that it was to visit family.
Yep.
But whether that was visiting family in a sort of, it'd be nice to have Christmas together, screw the rules, let's just go. Or someone was seriously ill, and this may have been your last opportunity to spend a holiday season with them. That's still a possibility. And in fact, I've heard from one person that sort of latter case may actually have been the case in both of these cases. So we got to be a little careful here, because I'm just going to say... and I'm speculating at this point, I'm not suggesting that this was the case in any of the cases, but if, let's say, a parent was seriously ill, and you thought this might be your last chance to go and have Christmas with them, would you have gone?
Yes. Sorry, Lecter, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to say no. I was... No, for God's sake. But you could understand people's frustration, because there are people who have gone through that situation who can't go.
Yep.
Right? So they can, but if they can't get that time off work or whatever else, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it happened to a person I worked with over the summer. A family member passed away, and he was gone for 5 weeks. Yeah. So he was gone for 3 weeks to help his family get everything together, and another 2 weeks when he came back and isolated. So there is that kind of going on as well. So you can understand some frustration there. The other thing that colors this very oddly is obviously what's been going on in Ontario and Alberta, right? So this is on the heels of that. So everybody's pretty riled up about Ontario and Alberta, and they're kind of making this seem like it's the same thing, which it's not.
Right.
Because as far as we know, no one's violated any rules.
No,
right? So no one's violated any rules. And in Ontario and Alberta, it's kind of the same thing, except they have lockdown orders in certain places in Ontario and Alberta. So when you have elected officials who are like, please stay home, please don't go anywhere, and then they go to Hawaii because it's their family's tradition every year, that's very, very different than something like this. Even someone who was like, you know what, let's spend some time together at Christmas. I've got 4 weeks off because, I work for the G. I got a month off. Then if they go for 2 weeks and they isolate for 2 weeks, then there's nothing wrong that's been done.
Yeah, right. The issue is the optics.
Of course.
When you're the head of the COVID Secretariat or you're the Deputy Minister of Health, who both are key positions in the pandemic response for the NWT, and you then go to Newfoundland. Yeah. It takes a lot of travel through some pretty badly affected areas of Canada to get there.
It does.
And
it's a risk that most people would probably not want their elected officials or other officials in that capacity to take.
particularly given the fact that you're right, there were no rules in place, but there's certainly a plea from the territorial government, look, please don't travel unless you absolutely have to. So the question becomes, did they absolutely have to?
Yeah.
And frankly, we don't have the data at this point in time to pass any sort of judgment on that, because we don't know. Chances are we may not know. We're not entitled to know, frankly, because they're not MLAs. Yes, they are very high-powered GNWT officials, but at what point are you powerful enough that the public deserves to know why you traveled over the holiday season?
At the point that you are the head of a secretariat, which has been one of the most controversial things of the year, in which money is being spent that we don't know where it's being spent or where it's coming from.
And I think that there's a fair point in there, but I also think that if that man has traveled, and it's a big if. Yeah. I'm setting this out as an example. I don't know this to be true. If that man has traveled because a close family member, was seriously ill, then they may not necessarily want that shared.
No, absolutely.
And are they still entitled to that privacy?
I mean, yes, they are entitled to privacy of what's going on. If the question, and I'm not demanding answers in that regard. I'm just saying if the question did come up,
go
they
ahead,
could
demand answers.
Okay, I'm going to demand answers right now. They could easily say, "Well, listen, I went for a family matter, and that's all I'm going to leave it at."
And that I entirely agree with. And that's the part that I think is missing. If it is the case that these people traveled south because there was a genuine material concern for somebody's well-being, and that we are in a situation where everybody understands compassionate reasons for travel at this point still.
I don't know about the Facebook comments.
Well, nobody understands them.
Yeah, so just to circle back to those for a minute, you mentioned confusion in the Facebook comment section. We have a social media manager now who is 3 days into the job. Is this not part of her job description?
This is under her purview?
To solve the confusion that has plagued us for the 3 years of Cabin Radio's existence?
Yeah, I don't know that the person exists on the planet who could enter the swashbuckling environment of the Cabin Radio comment section and immediately quell the simmering rage. I mean, honestly, we have posted stories like, small puppy smiles adorably at camera, and then had to wade into the comments and start dividing people to say, all right, are we done? Because it's an odd place to be. There were a lot of comments going on last night very quickly, and obviously the vast majority are condemning these people for traveling. And all I want to suggest this morning is that the problem, frankly, and this is a much bigger discussion with Facebook, with the way that we consume reporting on this stuff these days, is there's so little room for any nuance in our understanding of what has occurred.
That's right.
Basically, what has occurred is several quite powerful officials related to the pandemic response in the NWT traveled south over Christmas. We don't fully know why. There are arguments as to whether we're entitled to know why. The Premier has said she'll talk this through with all of her deputy ministers and understands that they need to lead by example. Now, you can choose what you want to read into that, but it may not be as simple as these are terrible human beings and should all be fired.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we'd all prefer to just pick a side ahead of time and then find out later if we're on the right or wrong side.
Well,
of
it'd be nice to have a conversation in the comments rather than
no
tar
time.
and feather, resign. They should be fined and resign. They should be fired. They should resign. They should leave the territory. They should resign.
Okay.
She's 3 days into the job. That's a little tough on Louisa. No, come on.
They need to be fired. It's just, yeah. Well, Ollie, thank you for coming on for another segment of Without Knowing Precisely What's Going On with Ollie Williams. This is the first time. We still don't know precisely what's going on.
Cabin Radio's Morning Show Podcast. All the best chat, none of the embarrassing mistakes.
It's -12. Oh, my goodness, in the middle of January. What a treat. That means get out there and enjoy some of that outdoors. I know you know what the crappy thing about that is? Oh, by the way, mornings at the cabin brought to you by Aurora Ford Driving the North.
You were about to say mornings at the Crappin'.
Mornings at the Crappin'. Well, I mean, based on what we were talking about off mic, appropriate. The crappy thing about this January 6th weather shift is that it's the first week back after break. It's like, it's getting that holiday hangover, and then it's -12. And it's like, well, I should just skip work. Oh, wait, no, I just took 4 weeks off. Damn.
All right. Back to work.
And you know what? I mean, I'm taking this week off. I've been to work every day.
Yeah. It's supposed to be nice, right through the next week, though. So the weekend.
I don't just mean here. I've been at the dealership every day this week, too.
You haven't been.
I have been.
You have been.
I'm going back again today.
I thought you took the week off.
I did.
What are you doing?
The job never rests. So, well, okay. So this is the thing about that job, though, is that like if I take a week off, I can't. It's what's funny is that it parallels with like auditioning back in the day. So when I was auditioning, my agent explained to me, she's like, if you take 2 weeks off, it's really more like 6 weeks off. Right. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you can't really audition for anything for 2 weeks before you leave. You can't audition for the things 2 weeks while you're gone. Yeah. And you can't audition for, and that means that cuts you out of the things that are 2 weeks after you're back. And I was like, oh, okay, definitely. And that made a lot of sense. And in sales, it's kind of the same thing. Like I can't really take any ups for about the week before because usually people deal with these things within about a week. And then, like, for the week I'm gone. So there's still emails coming in. I'm still trying to do as much as I can to help people and obviously help my customers that are already existing. Like, oh, I need this. Okay, let me get in touch with parts, and I'll get them to email you or whatever. So that's part of it.
You're just too good at your job.
No, maybe I'm too terrible at my job, and that's why there's so many tendrils left dangling. But no. It's just part of the job.
There shouldn't be tendrils. So, yeah, maybe you're not.
No. Okay, there's tendrils. There's always tendrils. It's sales, man. Okay, fair enough. Fine. But went back yesterday to deliver a truck. Going back today to deliver a truck. So because you want to be with that person through the entire process. You greet them at the door at the beginning, and you say goodbye to them in their truck.
Look, that's
and then you never talk to them again.
Unparalleled service. My God.
No, it is not. We all give similar service. Just some of us don't talk crap about each other while we do it. Anywho. Last night's game did not go the way we all wanted it to go, unless you're a fan of Jeff Sanderson's kid, which I know a lot of people in the NWT are. Jeff Sanderson, born in Pine Point, NWT. It said Hey River on the back of his card, but because by the time his hockey card came out, Pine Point didn't exist. So it said Hey River. And I remember being so jazzed about that when I was a kid, when I got his card in like the 92-93 set. Yeah. Because he was a rookie around that year. And I was just like so jazzed about it. I kept that card in a different place. Hey River guy, that's awesome. And his kid played last night for the U.S.
Yeah.
So he is denounced Hay River and Pine Point and torn off all his colors and is now an American. I think they live in Ohio because he finished his career with Columbus and apparently just loved it.
Yeah.
So obviously and I posted last night after we got home, I said, a Yukon kid may have been the star, cousins, but an NWTers kid has taken home the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at those. Pretty good at those Facebook
That's pretty good.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, like their first test, and it just didn't go well. They did not from the hop. You showed up about 10 minutes late. You showed up about halfway through the first period.
Yeah.
And you missed the best part of Canada's game, which is in the first 10 minutes of the first period, they were dominating.
Yeah.
They were dominating. They were up shots. They were up in shots like 7-2, and they looked good. They like put on a lot of pressure at the beginning, and then like a drop of a hat, the momentum shifted completely, and then from a 7-2 at 7-2, they were shots 7-2 halfway through the first period. By the end of the second period, they were outshot 15-3.
Yeah.
After that,
I feel like when Canada loses at hockey, it's like
an angel dies.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of and I think like the whole world kind of feels that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like something's like out of balance here. Canada's not. They're not number one at hockey. Like so. Yeah. What are they number one at?
Nothing. It was just a moment of as a million voices cried out, and then were suddenly silenced. Yeah, it is always. I mean, I've seen enough World Juniors to see Canada lose a dozen times.
Yeah.
So I mean, it happens. But I mean, against the U.S., so we've obviously had a pretty good record against the U.S. in the Olympics. Obviously, in 2010, famously, 2014, they were in the semifinals, and it was the biggest 1-0 blowout I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And then in 18, obviously they didn't play. The NHL players didn't play, and I don't think Canada and the U.S. played in the Olympics that year.
Yeah, no one remembers.
Either. No one remembers.
Didn't happen.
Exactly. Germany almost won, for God's sake. That's how cracked that friggin' Winter Olympics was. But in the last 4 times they've met in the gold medal game at the World Juniors, America's 4-0. That's going back to 2006, I think, or something like that. 2004, actually. That was when the year that Marc-Andre Fleury blasted it off his own player's face back into his net.
Oh, that was fun to watch.
That was brutal. That was a brutal heartbreak. But such is the case for a tournament such as this. I mean, these tournaments are so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, these kids play, and, like, they're just getting better. Like, even with this loss, this team is arguably one of the best teams to ever play in that tournament for Team Canada. Like 23 players, 20 of them are first-round picks. That's insane.
And that was kind of what made the Americans' performance that much more impressive, was that this team that all you heard from the Canadian sports media was this might be one of the most stacked Canadian junior teams in history. The Americans made them look pretty ordinary.
They shut them down completely. Shut them out. Like, they had a couple of chances. But for the most part, they did not have good scoring chances at all. So, Shane Knight? No. That's
the goaltender for U.S.
Knight, the goaltender for U.S. had, like, he got a good look at everything they did.
Yeah.
There was the one that went off his shoulder, and then there's the one that obviously went off the goal post. There's a couple post shots, but there's that one by Byer. Anyway, he, nifly tucked it under the guy's elbow, but it didn't hit the post.
Yeah, right.
So, like, there was a couple of good chances, but for the most part, they did not get good looks.
Yeah. That was about the only play that I remember seeing where a Canadian kind of got a step on an American player.
Well, there was that one breakaway where the guy just biffed it. I can't remember.
Where they ran into
he just tried to do one extra move. He's like, he tried to do, and Dylan Cousins said it in the first period. They interviewed him after the first period, and he's like, he basically said, we're trying to get a little too fancy out there.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do that one extra thing. And you can always see it when a team or a player tries to do one more thing and it doesn't work out. It's like, have you just shot at that previous one? Obviously, we don't know. It's just one of those things.
To throw out a beautiful Canadian hockey cliche.
Yes.
They're squeezing their sticks too hard.
You're gripping too tight. You're going to lose your grip.
They're just squeezing the sawdust out of those sticks out there.
Yeah, you're going to be like Hollywood in Top Gun.
That one doesn't work anymore.
You're gripping too tight. You lose your edge.
Sticks aren't made of wood anymore.
I know, but still, graphite, whatever.
They're squeezing the splinters out of that graphite.
I did want to do one thing before we left. Here's a take from a person who's never played competitive sports before. Come on! What are these kids? What a bunch of brats, man. I can't even believe. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment. I can't even believe how terrible they played. None of these kids deserve to be on an NHL team. And I mean, back in the day when we played real hockey. And that's a take from someone who's never played competitive sports.
Accurate.
Beach Boys, God only knows. This should be a Christmas tune.
Let's just reiterate one more time before we get on the music.
Yeah.
NWT.
Yeah.
Beats the Yukon.
All right. Let's have a craft beer and celebrate, Whitehorse.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
This was very cool. This story dropped a couple days ago. CBC had this story for you. Yes, we mentioned other news sources. Chris Bruckner got a late Christmas present from the Guinness Book of World Records last year. So a lot of people confused about this as well. People get confused when you post stories out of time. So he cycled across Canada. How long do you think it took him? What's the world record? What do you think it would be?
I think he's still going.
I don't think so. But because he did it last year. But how long do you think it took? So that's what I was saying. Because they posted it now because it took about a year for Guinness to confirm the record. Right? So he completed it last year. A lot of people were like, why is he cycling across Canada during a pandemic?
I mean,
he should be fired and resign from the GNWT, is what they're saying.
It's fairly socially distant.
It is. It's like you're on your own. But anyway, he did it last year. But how long do you think it took him?
A year.
Okay.
The entire year.
For God's sake, take this seriously.
6 months.
No. Go again.
9
months. Okay. Pick what you think a time would be, and then maybe cut it by half.
I mean, so 3 months?
Cut it by half.
A month and a half.
Cut it by half again.
Oh, I'm not good.
Three quarters of a month. He did it in 13 days.
Oh, wow.
3 hours and 49 minutes. But you know what? It was like, you're like, oh my God, that's incredible. Like, there's no way anybody else has done it. It shaved about 3 hours off the previous record, which is impressive. But like, everyone's done it in 13 days, apparently.
Everyone?
Everyone who's tried it. No, like the people who held the person who held the previous record did it in 13 days and 6 hours.
Wow. Do you know who that was?
No idea, because who cares? They don't hold the record anymore. Who cares? I'm sure they're out there right now, just like tenting their fingers, going, good.
And their name wasn't Terry Fox or
it wasn't Terry Fox. Terry Fox did not do it in 13 days.
No,
he barely made it down the block.
Make it
in 13 days. No. Enough with this hero worship of Terry Fox. Let me say it right now. I'm joking.
He's one of the reasons Thunder Bay is cursed.
Just one of the many. So he completed the 5,747 kilometer ride in 13 days, 3 hours and 49 minutes. But yeah, that's pretty incredible.
That's ridiculous.
He is also racing for a cause, raised about $5,000. $5,000 for Canadian Mental Health Association, which is great.
That's it. Eh?
That's amazing. But that's it.
That's it.
For less than $1 per kilometer.
Wow.
Hardly seems worth it. I'm being cynical, but like, that's not great for that kind of
accomplishment.
That's amazing. Don't get me wrong. $5,000 for mental health is incredible.
Yeah.
But like,
any amount helps.
Obviously, he's in great shape. He's a great cyclist, all that stuff. But I mean, you're pushing your body to the limit at that point.
Oh yeah.
You think people would pony up a little bit more dough than less than $1 per kilometer?
Well, if I can be used as an example,
sure.
I wonder if anyone knew about it.
Oh,
I didn't know about this.
I didn't know about this either. Well, I'm not a cyclist though, so I mean.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So he started the Inuvik Cycling Club, and in collaboration with the Illinois Cyclists, he's hoping to build a cycling community in the North. I hate to break it to you, there already is one.
We talked about it the other day.
Fat bikers. Yeah. There's you guys who travel across the country, and there's a bunch of fat-ass bikers. I don't know if you could fat bike across the country. It would be hard, because it's harder.
Sure you could.
It's harder to push on those tires, right?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do it in 13 days, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, not for a bunch of fatties. That was me. I wouldn't be able to do that in 13 days.
I wouldn't be able to make it up the Ingram Trail in 13 days.
I'm not sure I'd want to drive across the country in 13 days. I'd be like, can we take a little bit more time on this?
Right?
Like, good Lord. No, 13 days would be pretty easy. I've done the Vancouver to Winnipeg thing.
Right.
That's almost half the country.
Yeah.
And I've done that a dozen times.
Now, not that it matters, because this is like, kind of semantics, but like, I'm assuming it was 13 days, like elapsed time, like actual cycling time.
Oh, that's a good question. Obviously he didn't, it doesn't say.
Yeah.
It doesn't say. That's a really good question. He did it in 13 days, but like, was that the cycling he did? And over what period did he do it?
Because if you compare that to driving across the country, it's like, well, you would have driven in less time.
He said that the ride was a time trial bicycle race where the rider races along alone against the clock. All right. Across Canada, cyclists are allowed to choose their own routes. Doesn't say anything about. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about how long it took him to do it. Like, it says 13 days, but obviously he wasn't cycling the entire time.
Yeah, I think we could pretty much assume that it was actual 13 days of cycling time, not 13 days total.
But we wouldn't be forced to assume if CBC would just add this to the story.
Context is important, CBC.
Once again, that building right across from the Winks, adjacent to the pool, does not add the details that we so sorely need. But congratulations to Chris Bruckner.
That is amazing.
Well done.
Wow.
So just got the news from Guinness Book of World Records just before the turn of the year. Beautiful.
Done. Is there somewhere we can donate money now?
Yeah, no doubt, Chris.
Like,
sorry that we only ponied up $5,000, bro. So he worked as a paramedic in Inuvik. Awesome. NWTers winning gold medals.
Yeah.
And cycling across Canada for a good cause and not a lot of donations.
Winning World Juniors and breaking world records.
Booyah. And now he's going to be breaking hearts. That's right. He's single, ladies. Oh, wait. No, I made that up. Made that part up. But, I mean, if you want a guy who's going to push you to cycle across the country, have fun with that.
Hit him up.
Hit him up. It's his Tinder profile. I hold the world record for cycling across Canada, so if you don't like bikes, maybe don't swipe right.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Mornings at the Cabin brought to you by Aurora Ford, driving the North. We did make some New Year's resolutions earlier in the week, and we wanted to do a little check-in, but we wanted to call Ollie to make sure it was okay.
To make sure it was okay if we check in on our resolution?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ollie Williams, unavailable. Skype does not work. I'm not going to lie to you. Every time we've tried it, it's been stupid.
It has failed us.
Every time.
Okay.
I'm going to try it again. Oh, there we go. Ollie? Ollie? Can you send Megan down, please, if you can hear us? Can you send Megan Brackenberry to Studio 1, please? Megan Brackenberry to Studio 1. Thank you. All right. That's enough of that. Once again, technology eludes us. We are...
that.
What's that?
I thought we fixed that, but
Yeah,
maybe
we're a bunch of Luddites here. It's fine. It's fine.
So we
answered it both times. Heard you, spoke to you, says Ollie Williams.
Oh, that's so weird.
That is weird. I don't know why it's not coming through.
So we did a couple randomly generated New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
I didn't write down mine because you were generating them.
You son of a bee.
But I wrote down the ones I generated for you. So I wanted to just check in on those.
Okay. What do you got?
So your resolutions, you may recall, were a compliment a day.
Yes.
Strengthen your passwords.
Mm-hmm.
And up the spice.
Up the spice. Now, I definitely did up the spice.
Okay.
We had enchiladas last night.
Oh, there you go.
Ollie, this is not what I asked for.
Answered the call both times, heard you both times, spoke back to you both times.
So if you heard me, then why isn't Megan Brackenberry here?
Because I'm here as her ambassador, her emissary.
Okay.
Oh, this
all right.
does not work out at all.
All right, well, that's okay.
All right.
Ambassador. Wow.
Emissary.
Yeah, we didn't even
Lofty.
predict that one.
Lofty.
Ambracador, if you will.
Ambracatool.
So we're doing a little check-in on our New Year's resolutions.
That's right.
Ollie. I don't know if you heard, but the other day we did a couple randomly generated New Year's resolutions.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, tolerate less of this nonsense.
Tolerate less of this nonsense. Okay.
All right. I'm going to generate one for Ollie.
Okay.
Okay. I, Ollie Jackrabbit, resolve to stop boring my boss with the same excuses, come up with new and exciting ones.
No, that's yours. What's mine?
All right. I, Ollie Jackrabbit, resolve to make more video calls than audio calls.
Ugh, I mean, welcome to the pandemic. Yep.
I, Ollie Jackrabbit, resolve to stick with my New Year's resolutions for longer than a day.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Done. One more. Vote with my wallet and my ballot.
No, refuse to vote.
Fair enough. Take the stairs and the stairs. This was one of yours, Lecture. Haters gonna hate. So take the stairs and the stairs. I think this is a fat shaming one because it's like saying
that's gross,
right? Isn't it gross?
And we don't have an option here.
Let's stop doing those. What
Stop
were
talking
your
about
ones?
Game of Thrones.
Those are no good.
Learn how to parallel park. I know
Jesse,
Ollie doesn't know how to parallel park.
What was like this?
We don't remember what mine were.
On the wrong side of the road.
You don't. This is great. This is absolutely wonderful.
No, one of yours was stop talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The other one was end the stairs, take the stairs.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
What was yours?
Mine was a compliment a day.
Yeah.
And
compliment a day?
Yeah, for myself.
That was a good one.
For myself. Jesse,
So
you're doing great.
A compliment for someone else.
Oh, fair enough.
You already compliment yourself.
That's right.
Nicely.
Ollie.
Although sometimes you're pretty hard on yourself.
Ollie, you're here.
Come on.
Okay.
Did you compliment anyone yesterday?
I did.
Who?
I complimented...
You complimented AJ. Actually.
I complimented AJ. I complimented Phoenix.
Oh.
And I complimented somebody at work as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So today,
not yet. No,
Well, because yesterday you did 2 extra ones. So
okay,
you've got like 2 in the
right.
bank.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
God, I could just bank these. I could just compliment people 10 times a day and be like, I'm good for...
You're killing it
Good for a couple weeks. I gave my dog a kiss on the forehead this morning, so that's a compliment.
Not a compliment.
Yes,
is
it is. She's adorable. And I'm letting her know. Ollie, do you have any New Year's resolutions? We were talking about how kind of lame they were. This is why we kind of randomly generated some. And they're also lame.
So stop tolerating this nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's an important one. I feel like put on the spot here, but I suppose I have a resolution to keep more of my work in a work environment and take less of it home.
Very nice.
Greatly assisted by having a desk in a nice office now.
Yes.
So I sort of am using that as a sort of, I mean, what this translates to is I will now stay at work till 10 o'clock every evening. Because that's where the work is.
Yeah.
But the aim now is to, for example, not take the laptop home.
Right.
And so that's actually quite a big shift to me and say, right, all the screen stuff stays at work and then at home I just do other things.
Right.
So that's probably a New Year's resolution
That's
that
a
I can
good
try
one.
to keep doing, yeah.
You got a pretty nice couch in your office, though. So
Right.
staying at work till 10 o'clock, like you're set.
Got to
Either
watch
way.
soccer in the evenings at work is what we're saying.
Right.
But
Yeah.
okay.
We also resolved for Ollie to spend less than 10 nights sleeping here this year.
Well, they keep rejecting my request to put in a shower block, which is helping. That sort of eventually sends me home once people object to the smell.
Just sink wash, for goodness sake, you
Right.
lazy bugger.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
All
that's
right.
all right.
That's okay.
I'm impressed.
way ahead.
You're way ahead
Way
of the
ahead.
game. Yeah.
Way ahead. I
Well
compliment
done.
people all the time. They just don't recognize it because it sounds snarky. It's like, you're doing great. You're doing real great.
Well, you really shouldn't roll your eyes when you compliment people.
I can't help
That sends mixed messages.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
Because because I'm annoyed with myself that I'm giving a compliment. Like, ugh, you're doing great. Ugh.
I'm only doing this because it's a resolution. Yeah. You're a really valuable member of this team.
That's right. I'm only doing this because I've practiced empathy my entire life. It's all very practiced. There's nothing wrong with practiced empathy. Some people just aren't born innately with it.
Yes.
Right?
So well done. 2021 off to a great start.
And how about you?
I haven't talked about Game of Thrones once.
That's true. Have you taken the stairs to stop people from fat shaming you?
It's my only option.
I was going to say, you're looking a little chunky, monkey.
Am I?
No. Oh. God, no. Jesus. Good Lord, if anything. Have a sandwich. No. That's shaming the other way.
I would love a sandwich.
Me too. Ollie, you're going to make a sandwich, right?
Well, you're on a breakfast penalty again, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I wasn't late today.
Were you not? I saw the message come in.
Saw the message. He didn't even add a song.
No, he didn't need it.
Didn't need it.
Okay.
I wasn't late.
Well, give it another day.
No brekkie penalty. Oh, Mornings at the Cabin traditionally ends with us petering out. And there it is. Done for another day. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. Go out there and enjoy this warm weather if you can. I know most of you just got off break, but if you're able to sneak out of work and enjoy some of this weather, please do. Anarchy in the streets when it's this warm. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.